Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bull, and welcome to Bulldrek. We are once again going to be just talking about random things off the top of my head. Yeah, I know. It gets a little weird. So this week I'm going to talk TV shows again, but rather than talking like the superhero shows and stuff that I usually do, I'm going to talk about some of the shows I've been watching that may not be as popular, people may not be watching, because there's some really interesting stuff out there, and I don't know if it's going to get a second season, which makes me a little bit sad. So we're going to talk about it and tell you what I've been watching. First off is a TV show called Limitless. It is based on a movie from a few years back, also called Limitless. And the basic premise is that there is this drug called NZT, which can apparently unlock the full potential of the human brain. It basically puts you into overdrive. You can remember almost everything you've ever read or seen or heard in your life. It enhances your cognitive abilities like 1,000 times or something crazy like that. Gives you it basically makes you much more aware, makes you much smarter, makes you able to connect the dots a lot better. The original movie wasn't bad, but I didn't think it was all that great. But the TV show's been really, really good. The TV show follows a different character from the movie, and basically we follow this hapless character named Brian Finch, who has basically had a lot of down on his. He's not had a whole lot of luck in his life. He's kind of a slacker. Not a whole lot of ambition and whatever, and he's now, like late 20s, early 30s, and just not really gone anywhere with his life. But one day, an old friend of his gives him one of these pills and blows his mind. He's able to do all kinds of interesting things, and he kind of, really likes the idea. So he goes back to see his friend again to find out what, exactly was going on with this, but his friend has been murdered. This eventually leads him into hooking up with the FBI. And there's a whole lot of whole lot of mystery to it, and there's still some stuff that's not explained about it. But basically, a big part of the show is kind of a police procedural, to some extent. Most of the police procedurals, though, Brian can solve fairly easily. So a lot of it's more just his interacting with the people around him, coming up with really interesting and clever things to do. One of my favorite bits, they've kind of got a reoccurring bit now, is at one point he basically gets involved with some computer guys and has to learn to hack. But as he points out, is that actual hacking isn't interesting like it is in the movies. There's no, computer graphics and all that stuff. It's just somebody typing on a keyboard. So every time he goes to hack, he goes, watching me hack is boring, so here, watch some internet videos of cats or something like that. And it'll just cut to this little quick montage of cats. Goofy little things like that. The other thing I really like is that they will occasionally do these really thematic episodes, where they take a movie style or a TV style or something like that, like a noir or something along those lines, and they'll do the whole episode sort of in that style. That's kind of interesting to see them do, because I switch it up from week to week. One of my favorites is they did this whole Ferris Bueller riff with one episode, which was just beautiful. The show's really good, like I said. I really would encourage anybody to check it out. It's really funny, it's really interesting. It's not like pure comedy, but there's a lot of humor to it. But it's also just really good and really interesting and a lot of fun. I think everybody should check that out. Another show I've been watching, and this one I'm pretty sure is going to unfortunately not make it to a second season. From what I've seen, the ratings haven't been good, and it's already been relegated to the Friday night death slot. But it's called Second Chance. And Second Chance is about this aged former police sheriff, Sheriff Jimmy Pritchard. And when the show starts, Pritchard's an old man. He's in his late 70s. He was kind of that old school cop where, he basically did whatever it took to try to keep the streets safe, which occasionally meant busting heads and, doing whatever it took to get the criminals, and occasionally meant making deals with criminals to keep things from getting out of hand. He was eventually involved. He basically eventually got caught up in some police scandal stuff, and he retired ahead of getting kicked out of office. Now he's kind of this old, bitter, cranky, beat-up old man. His son is a FBI agent. And in the first episode, Pritchard accidentally discovers some people going through his son's FBI files. And of course he tries to stop them, but being an old man, he basically gets just hit over the head and then dumped off of a bridge, and he dies. And everybody assumes he commits suicide. Meanwhile, there is these what they call the computer twins. Basically, this pair of twins that runs this giant Apple/Microsoft type company called Looking Glass. And the twins are a weird set of characters. There's a girl and a boy, and the brother is really, really socially maladjusted. He has a lot of anxiety, a lot of OCD, doesn't deal with the public well. The sister, on the other hand, Mary, she does. She's really good with the public and stuff. They're both really, really smart, and they've created all this high-tech stuff. And these like new generation smartphones and all this other stuff. But Mary is dying of cancer. So they've come up with this way to try to basically cure cancer, but for some reason it involves a very specific gene and blood type and whatever. But they basically need to do blood transfusions, but they need a very specific type of blood, and they need to do some sort of transgenic thing with it where they manipulate the DNA and everything. They don't want, obviously they can't do human trials or anything, so they basically use a corpse, and they end up using Jimmy Pritchard's. They bring him back to life. But they bring him back as basically what would have been his ideal self when he was younger. And then, of course, he ends up getting involved with his son, solving crimes, and with the help of the high-tech computer twins and their high-tech company. And it's an interesting show. I mean, there's a lot of interesting cutting-edge stuff. I think the characters are fascinating. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but the guy playing the FBI agent is he was also the FBI agent from, oh man, wow, blanking, sorry. Oh well, doesn't matter. He's an actor I like. He's a good actor. So, I don't know. I find the show fairly interesting. It's got some really cool concepts. I really like the characters. So, it'd be nice to see the show get another season. I don't know if it's going to. Like I said, I kind of have my doubts. Another show I've been watching, I think this one's been doing pretty well. And that's Lucifer. I think I've mentioned Lucifer with the comic book stuff. Lucifer's a lot of fun. Lucifer is based on DC Vertigo comic called Lucifer, which I never read. But the basic premise is that the devil basically decides he doesn't want to be in charge of hell anymore, and he takes a vacation to Earth. Semi-permanently. So we basically have Lucifer Morningstar, is living on Earth. He runs a club. He occasionally makes deals with people to try to help them out, so to speak, but they owe him favors then. Basically making the deal with the devil, so to speak. But he's basically bored, and he ends up getting hooked, getting involved with a cop. I have talked about this one, I remember now. But he gets involved with a cop, and they fight crime. And I think I made that joke before, too, so I apologize for that as well. It's a fun show. The guy playing Lucifer Morningstar does an amazing job. He is just fantastic. He could turn on a dime. He's charming as all hell, but then he can just, on a dime, turn to like this menacing, just menacing, evil-ish character. He does a really fantastic job. I also really like, they've got, I want to say it's D.B. Woodside, but I can't remember if that's the actor's name or not, playing an angel, a meta deal, something like that. And basically he's trying to get Lucifer back to running hell, where he's supposed to be. And the two of them have some really, really fun chemistry together. D.B. Woodside played the principal in Buffy the Vampire Slayer for a little while. I think it was he was the principal of the rebuilt school in the later seasons. But he does a fantastic job as well. So there's some really good characters. It's fun. It is a bit of a police procedural. I find watching a lot of those, actually, which surprises me. But also I've noticed that seems to be a really good way for them to get shows, genre shows especially, onto the air. Is basically you take the basic premise, you take some weird premise like he's been brought from the dead to help save some computer twins. And together with his estranged son, they fight crime. So, yeah, those are 3 shows. There's some others I've been watching, but they've managed 5 or 6, 4, 5, 6 seasons, so I don't think they're in too much danger of getting canceled. Or and if they do, they've run their course. But those are 3 shows that if you haven't checked them out, you probably should. Plus, as a reminder, starting up next week, next Thursday, Friday the 18th. I guess technically Thursday night, Friday morning, because it's at midnight on Netflix, give or take. Daredevil starts up. Daredevil Season 2, that ought to be fantastic. Really looking forward to that. So yeah, that's just a little bit of Bulldrek for you this week. Talking TV. Thank you. I appreciate everybody who listened this far. If you have any questions or anything like that, please post them down below. This video was made possible by the wonderful, wonderful contributions of my Patreon backers. My patrons are great people. I love them a lot. And if you're interested in becoming one and helping me produce more great videos like this, or not so great videos depending on your opinion, please check out the link below and check out my Patreon page. It would be greatly appreciated, and I would be in your debt. Also, if you like the video, please click like. If you're interested in the video, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And thank you for watching, and have a good day.